All right. I think I jumped. So
I wanted to share a little bit about what a Nigun is and what a Niggunim is, sometimes called Nigun or Niggunim. I did a Google search, and because that's, I think, where we all kind of start these days to get our information. And the definition is a wordless song sung by Hasidic Jews as a means of elevating the soul to God. An article I read from Hebrew College states that Nigun is a wordless melody, simple or complex, slow and meditative, or fast and jubilant, sung over and over again. Shanit Rosenbaum from Hebrew College says, "We don't really have the words to say what it is we're going through today. Wordless melodies are particularly powerful, especially at a moment we're at a loss for words. Singing can bring us joy and lift us. It can also carry us in times of enormous pain." Niggun, a mystical musical prayer introduced by Hasidic Judaism. Some may believe that there are gates in heaven that cannot be opened except by melody and song. A spiritual language beyond words. A Nigun is comprised of senseless words, bim bam, tida, lai lai lai, da da. A Nigun can be an amplifier of particular feeling, joy, sorrow, contemplation, as well as a Nigun can be an indicator of where we are in the Jewish year. A Nigun helps us disconnect for a moment from the outside world so that we may connect with our inside world. Tonight, we're going to go over 3 Nigun, the Shabbat Nigun that we just did, the Ramsor Nigun, a mid-level, difficult Nigun for an exercise on intention, setting quieting, listening, fearlessness, and singing together. The heart opener Nigun is how we'll end tonight. It's a way of exploring the merging of quieting, listening, joining, relying on the comfort of community, the messiness of community, as well as hopefully some harmony too. There is no right or wrong way to participate. All methods are good and unique to you. Feel free to join along to harmonize, hum, or just listen. We're thankful that you've joined us and hope that you leave feeling a little bit more connected with yourselves as well as with our community. Thank you.
Welcome, everyone. Good evening, Erev Tov. As we just heard, Nigun can encapsulate the entire spectrum of our human experience, from joy, sound together, to quieting, listening, to being anchored in movement. I can't help but sway, tap my feet when I offer this melody. It's an automatic bodily response. Even needing to think about the melody I was about to present you forced me to commit myself to be in the here and now. Any worry, any concern I might have had about this moment or what I could have done 10 minutes ago or how I'm going to manage my day tomorrow is out of the window when I'm in the Nigun, in that wordless melody. One of the great potentials I find a Nigun can offer us is the ascension from where we are to where we want to be. Often this is emulated, conveyed, communicated to us by the ascension of the melody itself. We'll start somewhere low and then we'll go up wherever this up might be for you, only to come down again, hopefully, with some sort of insights, some sort of lessons learned. The lesson learned might also be that tonight this Nigun didn't do anything for me. I'm not open to it. My heart might be a little hardened right now, and that is okay. The Nigun is an invitation to us to disconnect from all the traffic in our minds so that we can later on connect more skillfully. There are so many different teachings in the Torah that are all wonderfully collected in this book called The Torah of Music by Joy Weisenberg, a piece of literature I love to return to again and again and again. I randomly opened the page here only to be reminded that 2 weeks ago, we read about the very, very first musician in the Jewish Bible. Anyone guessing or knowing who this person might be?
Yuval?
That's right.
Yuval?
Yes.
Yes, that's why I know.
Yes. And Adar bore Yuval. He was the ancestor of all who dwell in tents and raise cattle. And Yaval, and the name of his brother was Yuval. He was the ancestor of all those who played the lyre and the harp. The Torah always likes to juxtapose siblings that use a certain kind of metal for craft, and it's often that one sibling uses it for weaponry or things that are more crafty, whereas the other sibling uses them to either build instruments or cook meals. There's like a pattern. Anyway, in the experiences that I've had in immersing myself in Niggunim, there were a couple of things that had this grounding nature. One of them was to acquaint oneself with a Niggun. Whether, considering Niggun, a new melody, to be a guest that arrives. Sometimes we are really happy about certain guests because we are familiar with them, we know what they're like, we know what to expect, we know what to serve them, we know how to engage with them. And sometimes guests are new and might make us a little bit uncomfortable. It is a big commandment in the Torah to be welcoming to the stranger. And so acquainting oneself with a nigun also opens up to this quality of being open to that which is unfamiliar, being curious about that which meets us in the very moment. And that can be obtained by listening to the melody, hearing it a couple of times, and then slowly leaning into it, singing along with it, following the natural inclination to become louder, quieter, faster, slower. All is a way, all is as an exercise to figure out how one kind of behaves in a community of singers. When I meet with a volunteer choir, I often bring up the image of a flock of birds that shape shifts through the sky, right? But it's all in concert. And it's every bird, I imagine, pays attention, whether instinctively or not, by what the other bird partner next to them is doing, and accordingly they adapt and adjust. And that is a beautiful opportunity for all of us to practice here in a nigun session, and hopefully to take out into the real world. So what happens in a nigun session should not stay in a nigun session, but rather take what you experience out. So we're going to start with like a mid-level nigun. We started with something I believe many of you, all of you are familiar with. It was a Shabbat nigun. I wanted to make it easy and accessible, even though there is some benefit to leveling the prayer field by offering something that nobody knows. We didn't choose to go this route tonight. So this next nigun is mid-level in the sense of where it goes in terms of complexity. And perhaps we can use it as an opportunity to think about an intention you are setting for yourself for this evening or this night or for the remainder of the week. Whether it is about intending to be more present with your spouse or partner, whether it is to apply patience towards your coworkers, whether it is kindness towards yourself, whether it is to be more mindful about when self-criticism pops up. These are just some examples I offer to you as you think about what intention you might set. Perhaps this nigun, perhaps the vision of how you are in the world, having fulfilled this intention, can serve as an anchor for you as you listen to the nigun and as your mind naturally drifts. Questions, comments, suggestions?
Beautiful analogy with the birds and a guest. It's a guest. Welcoming.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Let's get to it, see what happens. Check in with yourself. How are you feeling? What's going on? I see some of you are smiling, which is great. And some of you use your hands as percussion, which I really appreciate. You know, they say those who sow in tears will reap in joy. How many of you are familiar with that saying? Raise your hand. One interpretation suggests also in Bedinah, those who sow in tears, Bedinah Yiktzuru, will reap not in joy, but will reap with song. Bedinah can also be translated as song. Let us go out and sing, something we say every Friday night. I invite you to think about song as a possible source of joy, song that helps you reap some benefits. I know that for me in these last couple of weeks, at first with some guilt associated, but then more and more with a greater permission, I lean into joyous songs in times that I couldn't really find a lot to be joyous about. And it saved me. Always has saved me. Music in times of darkness. And I'd like to think, if it resonates for me, it must resonate with other people too. The power of music, and you all being here might be a testament to that. So as you think about your intention, if you're still thinking about your intention, see if you can imbue it with some joy in all of our voices, chanting this Niggunim together. Let's give it a try joyfully. The shooting box is gonna become quieter and quieter. I'm gonna ask you to not let it intimidate you. Keep singing. I know it's a little bit vulnerable to have just our voices in this room, but I ask you to just trust it. Nothing's gonna happen. There's no wrong or right. Just your joyous voices being here in the room, creating this beautiful canopy of sound. So don't give up your song. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, la, 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 ay, 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 ay. Ay, la, la, ay, ay, ay. Ay, la, 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 ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, la, 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 ay, ay, ay. Oh, ay, 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 ay. תחילת החוכמה שתיקה. And seeking wisdom, the first step is silence. By Shlomo Ibn Gvir. I want to open it up for comments and shares, impressions, thoughts, feelings. If you would like to share what came up for you, I welcome it. And I believe we can all benefit from hearing what came up for each and every one of us, because it helps us connect to our shared humanity. And I'd like to think it matters these days, and each and every other day, but to remember what connects us.
It resonates in my heart because God knows and how it makes my whole chest kind of feel. And Lisa.
For me, it made me feel just open to possibility. Just
For the first time, just it made me feel lighter inside. And your words and the music made me feel it was okay to let myself feel that.
I gave myself a permission to hear my voice because my mother always used to say that I cannot sing, so maybe I can a little.
What is your name?
Agnes.
Agnes. My mother's name is Agnes.
Really?
And I've heard so many people say that. My teacher, my parent told me, don't sing, and I haven't sung. It's a shame, if you ask me. And it also reminds us of how much power our words have, especially if we are a guardian or a parent to someone who looks up to us.
I think Natalie, or those people, go hand in hand. So I also feel like this floating sensation, and it helps me clear my mind and have this open, peaceful space in a way when I'm just meditating in silence. You know, all these thoughts go through my head, but the music really prevents that from happening for me. It's just magical. So thank you.
One of the worst parts of COVID was not being able to sing with people. And for me, chanting, singing is such a communal act of love and participation and openness. And, you know, there were a lot of things we could do on Zoom, and that was not in the cards.
Thank you, Martha.
So one of the joys for me for this meditation is hearing you chanting, singing. It made me feel less intimidated and more open. Thank you.
That was my mother.
What's your name?
Keith.
Keith and Larry.
Hi, Larry.
To what you were saying about coming together in community, I'm reminded of the words from the Kedusha, which is a part of our Amidah prayer, which is like a central prayer in the liturgy. It says, with sacred song, all answer as one, speaking with awe, holy, holy, holy. It is a description of the angels singing in honor of God, and they sing together. They join together through song. So it's something that our tradition is aware of, knows, and writes about often. Yeah. Let us continue with another Niggunim, which I call like more complex, but who knows? Might just be my judgment of that Niggunim, and I might be off.
Question.
Yes.
You introduced that as a mid-level.
Yes.
What does that mean? I mean,
Well, for me, it means it's not so familiar, and it is not all too easy to learn. But it is relatively subjective. You know, how did you find it? Did you find it simple, not so simple, challenging to get into?
more challenging to get into. Much different than the introductory Niggunim, which really moved me. You know, I could feel being into that more so than this one.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other comments also from our friends over in Zoom land? Okay. All good.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't sure if I could use the microphone, but no, I think I wrote it in my chat here. I felt, like being within a stream, and the stream went backwards, and the stream went forwards. That's it.
All right, and this next Niggunim has the following instructions. It has it has 4 sections, and it suggests the following. The first and second sections get us warmed up. Then, if we're lucky, our hearts open up in the third section. Doesn't say anything about the fourth section. I'll leave it up to you. Yes. All right, let's see how it goes. That was the entire Niggunim. Now I'm going to do it again. Come back. Welcome back. I'm curious to know how your heart is doing at this time.
This was a more melancholy piece that feels a little bit more in tune with my mood. And I appreciate what you said about listening to uplifting music, but I think for me it's also nice to listen to something that is more somber. Again, because it's communal, it takes the sting out of it. By myself, it would be a great idea to listen to sad music.
So you're acknowledging the safety of this community. You can listen to somber music in community, knowing that, and correct me if I'm wrong, it'll ensure you from not falling apart completely by being here.
I think we're all sad.
Yeah.
And I'd rather be sad with other people than by myself.
For some reason, being with everybody tonight and singing gives me a little bit more hope. Maybe safety, I don't know, just.
To me, this really, it felt, with the words that you had said, it felt complex. So yes, I had sadness and I had this kind of melancholy feel, but it brought a lot of other emotions as well. It was complicated.
And there's also a quality of yearning to that.
I wonder if we can do a little exercise that I am just thinking about right now. And that is for us to pick pick a feeling, or pick a maybe pick a purpose / feeling we want the Nigun to help us feel, or help us start the act of resolving it, perhaps, with which we can, offer the last Nigun for tonight. So I heard sadness, I heard complexity, I heard yearning, hope.
I would like to find something from this and what's going on as far as our ability to connect with other people in the world.
Okay.
More sort of like humanity being human to each other.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I didn't really speak loudly. I would like to find some feeling of hope with the possibility of humanity being humane to, that we don't destroy each other, that somehow there's enough people that wake up to find something better.
Yeah. I just pulled up a story that might fit or not, that I want to share with you about hope and conjuring up the strength to move on, courage, encouragement, and just like something to remind us to be, active participants in this life and contribute towards the betterment of ourselves and those around us and all of those things we so easily forget. So this is a teaching on musical musal. Musal is ethical behavior. We translate it as ethical behavior. And I've added to the story this image of the kettle from Beauty and the Beast. And I hope you'll soon understand why. And this is how the story goes. And so you find that in the moment that King David came to dig the foundations of the temple, he dug down 1,500 cubits and didn't find the Tehom. The Tehom is the primordial stew of the earth that was caked off and contained at the creation of the world, like a volcano or steam valve, in the very spot where the future temple would be built. So David came to the foundation of the temple and was looking for that stew. But in the end, he found a single teapot and wanted to throw it. The teapot said to King David, "You can't throw me." And David said, "Why not?" The teacup said, "I'm here to hold down the Tehom." David said, "And since when have you been here?" And the teacup said, "From the moment that the compassionate one's voice was heard at Sinai proclaiming, 'I am Adonai your God,' the land trembled and sank, and I was put here to restrain the Tehom, restrain that primordial stew of the earth." Even so, David didn't listen to it. He threw it away, and the Tehom started writing and threatened to flood the world. So what did King David do? He started to sing songs. The 15 songs beginning with Shir HaMa'alot, Song of Ascent. And for each song he sang, the Tehom receded back to its original position. This is a story from the Talmud, the Jerusalem Talmud. I think what it can tell us, imagine we have those Niggunim practices on a daily basis in the community. And imagine our circle will become larger and wider and more diverse day by day by day. I wonder, and maybe this would help if everyone was a little more calmed down, a little more in touch with what goes on in there, a little more open to grieve, to mourn, to be sad, to see the humanity in each other, to quiet down after each song. I wonder if we'd be able to make the Tehom recede back to its original position.
It's a beautiful thought.
So I'm going to leave you with this new Niggun all over the place. Conferences, colleagues, literature, anthologies. There are Niggun anthologies. So this one is called Baby Bird Niggun. And I offered it last week for Penshabat, just because of the title. I don't know, maybe you can have a vision of the baby bird and maybe it connects with the Niggun. Well, I'm not sure. I'd be curious what you think. Something like this. How comfortable do you feel using the Shruti box? Do you want to try? Sure. Oh, sorry. Shruti box.
Shruti box.
Okay, this might take a little longer than needed. Let's do it together 2 times. You know what? Keep going and I'm going to harmonize with you. Also, you're more than welcome to harmonize as well.
We have to do this more often. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you, Cantor. Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you for those of you.
Thank you, Kitty.
Such a treat.
Oh my God. You took us to a different place.
Totally.
How many people show up for Friday night and Saturday morning in the last 2 or 3 weeks? A lot.
Recently, the last week for Petra, I want to say 50, 60, 70 people.